Hey, what's up, Super Simps, and welcome back to another episode of SimplyPodLogical, a simply nailogical podcast.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Cristine, again.
Today's episode is brought to you by Holo Taco. Holo Taco just came out with 3 new creme polishes that are perfect for the summer, whether you're having a hot girl summer or a slob I'm not leaving the house
Or
ever
stay
again
inside
summer. They're exciting new cremes for the summer.
Because life's a beach.
Life's a beach.
So we have a trio of 3 new creme polishes. But be careful, your nails are so fire that the floor is guava, is one shade. Subscribe to this channel for 1 melon followers is another shade. And if you're tired, just seafoam home is a third shade. Okay.
It's funnier if you just work them into sentences without
I was trying.
Okay. Cristine, today we're doing a fan favorite thing, another Reddit Am I the Asshole episode. But before we get to made up, potentially fake internet posts, I have something that happened to me this week, and I'm wondering if someone else was the asshole in this situation or if I'm being unreasonable.
Okay,
So
let's judge. Audience?
Yes.
Let's judge.
Vote below. Some flyer showed up in our mailbox earlier this week about a missing cat. Someone's cat disappeared. And the way the flyer was written, it was as if the cat hadn't been gone long at all based on the dates. And that tells me that this person is like, if you're concerned very quickly, maybe that's an indoor cat when you're not used to letting out, yada, yada, yada. So we have this picture, this piece of paper with this nice looking calico cat. And a few days later, I'm in the backyard doing some yard work. And this cat just wanders into the backyard without a collar. And it's a calico. So I grab the poster from inside, and it is that cat. It's the missing cat.
We're like comparing the cat to the picture. We're like,
Yeah.
Is this the same cat? It must be the same cat.
And it's super friendly. It's clearly used to being around people. So we get it into a crate that we have because we have cats. And I'm trying to call the number on the flyer, but no one's picking up. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to... It's not necessarily all that close, but I take the cat to the house, the address listed on the flyer, knock on the door, no one's answering. I start like knocking on the neighbors' doors, asking if they know who it's there, yada, yada, yada. Finally, we get the daughter of the owner shows up because a neighbor called them. And she shows up and goes, oh, yeah, she came back a couple days ago, and then we just let her out again. Without a collar. And only like a few days after having handed out posters around the neighborhood that they were missing. And they weren't like not appreciative. They were like, oh, thanks. That's nice of you for having done this. But it was kind of like, no big deal. Like almost as if I was kind of silly for doing it. Because from my perspective, if like we let Menchie or Zyler out and they disappeared and someone found them, I would be like so thankful that they were found. And I guess, are they just kind of irresponsible, bad pet owners in this situation?
I think anyone listening to this, it will depend on your own context and understanding of indoor versus outdoor cats. I think where we are, it's getting less and less common to have outdoor cats in the city of Ottawa. I understand, like, if you live in a rural area, maybe things are a bit different. But from our perspective, like if it was one of our cats, it got out and we went to the trouble of putting flyers because we were genuinely scared for the safety of our pet, and our pet was returned to us. We wouldn't just let it outside again, especially without a collar, if we let it outside at all. But it seems like this person just regularly lets their cat outside and it didn't return, I guess, for a period of time that had them concerned. But then the cat came back. And they had flyers up that I guess they didn't take them all down because they had been handing them out. So I'm just like a little confused. Like, were they actually concerned about their cat, or does their cat regularly just wander around because it's an outdoor cat?
I don't think the context. I think it is irresponsible to own a cat and let it wander around outside. Maybe it's different if you live in the middle of nowhere on like a farm or something.
Well, that's still dangerous.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I don't even know if that context matters. But especially if you live in a city, like. It's not just irresponsible to the cat who can get hurt, But to like the other wildlife, like I have no time for it,
Yeah.
honestly. And I know we've gotten flack before for expressing this opinion. People think we're judgmental. Like, yeah, I'm judgmental. I think it's irresponsible to own a cat and just let it wander around outside.
Because of the safety of the cat is the concern. It's not like, hey, I don't mind if a random cat shows up in my backyard, because that kind of makes me happy and I want to go play with it.
You're okay
However,
with it,
that's
but
selfish of me to be like, oh yay, random cats I
yeah,
get to
it's
play with.
mostly the safety of the cat,
It's
but
the safety
also
of the
like
cat, yeah.
I don't want other people's cats shitting in my backyard or eating birds out of the trees. Like, you know what I mean? There's a multitude of reasons for this.
Right. No, and the spread of disease, I think, is another big
Yeah.
reason that shelters will raise as an issue for.
Yeah. Like we both definitely have toxoplasmosis.
Okay, sure. But yeah, I just think where we are, how I feel, I wouldn't have an outdoor cat. And I just found it strange and kind of like weird behavior to put all these posters up about your outdoor cat and then we return it
Immediately
to you.
let it back out without
And then
a call.
it's like, well, are you
It's
just
like the
going to
bare
post posters
minimum you
again?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
I'm
that
worried
cat
about-
comes back, I'm just going to keep it.
Am I the asshole if I steal that person's cat?
That's the better question. If that cat wanders back into
We're
the
going to
backyard,
have a third cat, guys. It's because I stole it.
All right, don't tell anyone. All right, let's hop into our other people's, the Redditors' examples.
Are they the assholes?
All right, first one. Am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend to stop using my bathroom?
Whose house is this? Whose property is this?
So I'm a 27-year-old guy. I have a 24-year-old girlfriend, slightly over 2 years. We recently moved in together into a townhome. The place has 2 levels. The floor level consists of living room, kitchen, and full bath. The top level consists of 2 bedrooms, another full bath that connects to the master bedroom. When we moved in, my girlfriend had the idea that we should both have our own bathrooms, and I agreed. She claimed the upstairs one while the ground floor one was mine. The deal wasn't that neither of us were to step foot in each other's bedrooms or bathrooms or anything. If I get up in the middle of the night and have to pee, for instance, I just go into that bathroom. I'm not expected to walk downstairs. But we have our own bathrooms in terms of how we decorate them, do our hygiene duties, and fill our toiletries, etc. Anyway, we spend most of our waking hours together on the ground floor watching TV or gaming or whatever. When she has to use the bathroom, rather than running upstairs, she just goes and uses my ground floor bath. I don't care if she has to pee, but well, she doesn't limit it to that. If she needs to go number 2, she does that in my bathroom as well. I'm really averse to the smell of human poop, and when she and it tends to smell bad since she started following a high protein diet.
Oh, no.
It can linger for a while, yada, yada, yada. I use air fresheners, but it doesn't always cover it up. So I asked her to use only her bathroom when she has to go to number 2. There was no real graceful way of doing this. She took offense. She said there was no reason why she should have to run upstairs whenever she has to go, that we are a couple and dealing with each other's smells is just a part of it. What if we only had one bathroom? She asked. I said that we just have to deal with it if we did, but that it isn't the situation we are in, so we can just poop in our own bathrooms. Separate bathrooms were her idea, after all. Am I the asshole? Cristine, is part of being in a relationship having to deal with each other's smells?
I mean, it's not like what I signed up for. It wasn't part of the contract, but I think it's kind of an unwritten, understanding.
I will say this kind of naturally. We are fortunate enough to have more than one bathroom in the house. Mm-hmm. And I tend to just gravitate towards the guest bathroom, I guess you would call it.
But I use that all the time, too, because it's the closest to my office.
Yeah, but for some reason, I'm less likely to be using the bathroom attached to our bedroom.
Yeah.
Why is that? Have you sort of claimed it and I just recognized that?
No, I never said that. We both use both bathrooms.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just different times of the day. You tend to go to the far bathroom in the morning, probably because you're pooping, making noises.
Maybe I'm self-policing. It's not like you've ever said anything.
No, I think it's self-policing, which, hey, you do that whenever you're around other people. Like, sometimes if you're on the main floor and I need to go to the bathroom, I'll go upstairs just so I'm not right beside you in the bathroom right there. And I think that a lot of people just have that kind of anxiety that they maybe don't want to go to the bathroom right beside someone else. I think it's different if it's your partner, like, I peed in front of you.
Yeah, your partner's like a non-person when you've been in a relationship.
But sometimes, you're having stomach issues or you want to be alone then you might try and find a bathroom that's further away.
Actually, this is the real debate, right? I saw Linz DeFranco tweet out recently that like she was shocked that there are people in couples that don't poop in front of each other.
I mean, it's a choice.
I guess the thing is,
I don't make a point to poop in front of
yeah, I don't
you.
go out of my way to make sure you're there, holding my hand.
You're not like, Christine, wait, I can't go yet, Chris. Yeah. Okay, so can you go back to page 1 of this,
Okay,
just so I can
you
remember
need some more details
I
here?
need to analyze the situation a little deeper. So they both own the home. Well, it doesn't really say, but they mutually decided to move in together. At the outset, they decided
She brought up the idea that
of
they have
having
each
two
other. But to
bathrooms.
me, having each other's bathrooms is like, I want to decorate mine with like patchouli smelling candles and doodads.
I think
and
it's
things.
probably more like when you have a lot of hair and makeup bullshit. It can take up a lot of counter space. It can fill all the drawers. And I think it makes a lot of sense for some people who do that kind of stuff to be like, this is my space. Don't mess with my system.
Sure.
And that might be it. So,
Maybe.
yeah. And it was nice of him to let her have the upstairs one, because that's normally where you spend most of the time getting ready if you're into that stuff. If you get ready for things.
Clearly, they need a cohabitation agreement, a contract that lays
No,
out
they
which
do
bathrooms
not.
they are allowed to poop
You don't
in.
need contracts, okay? Like, this is just... It's obvious to me that maybe he's a little neurotic about it, about her interfering with his system. Although she's maybe a bit more casual about it. Like, they just at the outset said, okay, I'll mostly use this one and you'll mostly use that one. Great. But also if we use each other's bathrooms because
No
it's
big deal.
convenient, like not a big deal. It seems like he's holding her to their initial conversation, whereas she thought that was more of like a casual verbal contract as opposed to like, this is the law now.
Yes. So I think...
Communication is key.
I think he is being somewhat unreasonable, I think, pretty clearly. But I don't really know what they agreed to, right?
This is probably just his personality. I'm sure this isn't the only thing that she
Oh, so
has to
they
deal
should
with.
just break up then.
Well,
If he's
no.
like this about everything. Yeah.
Well, no, they not necessarily. Maybe he has some
Policing her
redeeming
smells.
qualities. Maybe he's really good at Donkey Kong. I don't know.
What are you trying to say? Let's move on to a less gross example.
Okay.
Am I the asshole for telling my wife not to like certain social media posts? My wife has a coworker that she finds attractive. That's cool. I know this because I have seen him like her Facebook posts, and I asked her if she thought he was attractive, and she said yes. She said, so what though? She's human and can distinguish between attractive and unattractive people. I have no real reason to think anything is going on, as she has many coworkers on her social media accounts. She says she likes everyone's posts as she's scrolling, and her coworkers all like each other's stuff. I told her if she likes his posts or any male she finds attractive, I'll have to stop talking to her.
What?
And take a step.
This is his,
That escalated
this is
quickly.
his wife? It's his wife.
Is his wife?
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll have to stop talking
Talking
to her
about-
and take a step back and reevaluate. In my eyes, liking posts is giving someone attention, and she shouldn't be giving attractive men attention. I'm her husband, and 100% of the attention she gets should come from me and vice versa. No wife of mine is going to go online and do that. She said I gave her an ultimatum, but I feel like I'm just setting a boundary. Am I the asshole?
Yes.
I might be the hole because I'm acting jealous, but I feel like I'm being reasonable.
You are not reasonable.
I
You are
might be the hole with a
the
W.
asshole.
I might be the a. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
You're
What
the
do you
hole
think?
and the ass.
Yeah, clearly.
This sounds incredibly
It's
jealous,
really insecure. is
insecure,
what
and
it is.
controlling. Like, you're not allowed to like posts that include attractive men.
If you're married to a guy like this, she must know that like telling him that she finds other men attractive
Is a risk
might
to upset
elicit
his
a
masculinity.
certain response.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So what's funny is he's okay with her liking posts of people
Who are
she does-
unattractive.
so she could like all her coworkers' accounts except the one she's
Step
attracted
1,
to.
rank your coworkers. Step 2, tell your husband.
Then he could go to her social media, see everyone she's not liking, and just know all the other men she's attracted to. It's brilliant.
Reverse engineer it.
This is like,
As long as she's not liking them, though, because then she'd be giving them attention. And 100% of her attention has to go to her husband, obviously.
these people exist, eh?
They do exist, yeah.
Like, if she was liking a bunch of thirst trap hot model guy posts on social media for everyone to see, and he had an issue with that, I kind of get it. Also, why are you telling your significant other you're attracted to other people in your life? That's kind of just a weird thing to do.
No, but it depends on the conversation. Like, we can have a conversation and both admit when watching a movie that Ryan Reynolds is objectively attractive. I would say it, and you might agree, right? Like,
yeah, I'd
people
agree.
can have these conversations, and it doesn't mean, like, I'm ready to leave you for Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it about, hey, our lawyer's secretary, like someone I know in real life or something. Like, if I had told you, like, someone I knew in real life I found very attractive, that would be weirder
it
than a
depends
superstar.
on the context. Like, if you were talking about, like, wow, she looks so pretty, like, or I said it first, and you were like, yeah, she's attractive. Like,
So I just let you say it first. Right?
well, no, but I think it depends on the context. I don't think that automatically means you should be worried.
No. And if you're secure in a couple, you're allowed to notice
Yeah.
other attractive people
Other
exist.
people exist. Yeah.
Yes, they do exist. You know
And
what's
she's
funny?
the most attractive of them all.
When I follow Manny Mua on Twitter,
MUA.
and once in a while, just like a really hot guy will show up on my feed, like some thirst trap guy. And it's because like sometimes you see posts that other people you follow like. And it's always Manny. I always see Manny like this post. And it's some like male model with his like 12-pack abs.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought you'd get a kick out of that. I guess not. Do you follow any?
Thirst traps?
Yeah, if you see a hot guy on Twitter, are you gonna like that post?
I have.
You've done it, yeah.
What of it? What are you going to do? You going to stop talking to me? You're going to have to reevaluate this relationship.
Like sometimes I notice attractive people on my timeline, but why would I like it?
I mean, I've liked like Jeff Nippard's pictures because he is a weightlifter.
Sure.
And his pictures almost always include a caption that like describes something that is of valuable information to me about muscle building or fitness. So I like them.
Yeah, and I'm not threatened by that.
Exactly.
Just to me, there's something about liking that's, I guess it's different with his friends or strangers, right? Because if you're just liking random posts, it's almost kind of like it's kind of a public thing. Anyone could see what you're liking.
Maybe, like, it's also possible that she's doing this because she wants to let him know that she's not happy with him and she's maybe looking for something else, but she's too afraid to have that conversation. I could be reading way too deep into this, but it's a possibility.
Yeah. Anyway, keep
If you're
liking those.
Yeah. Just don't control.
luck.
Like, I hate people who try and control their significant other's activities on social media to an unreasonable degree. Unless that person is exposing your own privacy or something, obviously, that you don't want on the internet and they're putting it on without your consent, then you can't police what someone else does on the internet unless they're your child or something.
I'd be curious to know if he thinks these rules also apply back on him.
Good question.
Because it'd be one thing if a couple just decides that they're on the same page, that they think it's disrespectful to like thirst trap pictures on Instagram or something.
Can we see your like history, Mr. Poster?
You never want to see. Yeah, don't share your browser history with
Probably
anyone.
a
right?
boomer. There's no age in here, so I'm just wondering.
There was no age on this one. All right.
No wife of mine is going to go online and do that. Okay, boomer.
All right, next one. Am I the asshole for making my wife choose between me and her best friend? Oh, good. I'm a 36-year-old guy, and I'm preparing for an upcoming surgery at the end of May. I have a respiratory condition that I've been suffering from, and my wife has been very supportive and accommodating of all my needs. She has endured so much by shouldering this burden with me, and I can never describe how much support she's been with everything that has been going on. The problem is that her best friend's wedding is at the end of May, specifically on the 27th, and my surgery takes place the exact same date. The 27th was not the original date of her friend's wedding. It was supposed to be earlier in the month, but it got changed. Her friend informed us about it on short notice, and my wife wanted to go, but it's an 8-hour trip since the wedding will be held in the groom's hometown. My wife and I discussed this, and I bluntly told her that I needed her there for my surgery. She told me that that's her best friend, and this will hopefully be her only wedding, and she wanted to attend. She asked if I could get a friend as my support, but I just didn't think this was right, as I was even puzzled that she'd ask me to get a substitute while she goes to her friend's wedding. I asked if her friend's wedding was more important than my health. She argued that there was nothing wrong with it and I won't need her since the medical team will take care of me. Then she said by refusing, I was making her choose between me and her best friend. We went back and forth on this argument and she insisted she wants to attend the wedding. I told her she was being unreasonable and I never expected her to prioritize a wedding over my health. She loudly yelled, "What do you want me to do? I might lose my friend over this," then stopped talking to me. I think I handled this badly and acted in an ungrateful manner, but I think she's the one who doesn't understand the difference since my surgery is an emergency, and if her best friend is a good friend, she would understand. Am I wrong? We really don't know what the medical situation is.
Yeah.
And I don't want to discount the possibility that it is some, devastating, super serious. Like, to me, that is the missing piece here that explains how unreasonable he is being.
Correct.
It would be very easy just to be like, hey, dude, if this is a routine thing, there's very little chance of something going wrong, and there's another person in your life who could just be there to support you. If I'm that person, I wouldn't want my wife to miss out on her best friend's wedding.
Right.
But if he's going into a surgery, he has like
a
50% chance of surviving or something.
Yeah.
That would change my perspective on it.
It depends. Like, does he really need her support to be there, or is he just a little jealous and upset at the fact that she would even consider not attending? And maybe that's it, regardless of how serious the surgery is. Because maybe it's not something... I mean, he said it's an emergency, but it's also an emergency that is booked in advance and planned for. So I don't really know what types of procedures that could entail. Mm-hmm. This is really tricky, and I feel like there's going to be some people who are going to be a hard on one side or a hard on the other, or just feel like everyone kind of sucks in this situation.
Really? My gut reaction is I think most people will think this person is being unreasonable. And like I just sort of said, like, I think she wanted his reaction to be like, yeah, you can go to the wedding. I'll be okay. You've been so supportive to me all these years dealing with this issue. I feel like I think that's the right take, but we don't actually know what the issue is.
And if you're in his position and you're scared, like maybe you're genuinely scared about the surgery and you want the person that you're closest to with you by your side. So it would feel like shit to think that they'd rather go to their best friend's wedding, because that's ultimately a party and celebration where you're going to be there alone, upset and scared to come out of this. Like, we don't know how he's feeling or how serious the surgery is. It's also possible that this surgery is not that serious.
It's like nothing.
And he's just like, you should pick me because I'm your man or something.
Dote on me, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I think I know. I think he's being unreasonable.
Yeah. I would hope that is the take, that if I were in his position, I would tell you, like, you can go, I'll be okay. Just, FaceTime me.
yeah, just put me on a Segway with an iPad in the chair.
As long as the person going under surgery like has some support, like maybe a relative or someone, then if it were me, I think I would tell you, go ahead.
Actually, maybe that's an interesting spin or something to acknowledge here. Like, it's not healthy to be so reliant on one person in your life. Isn't necessarily the healthiest thing either, right?
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to survive in this world without your partner constantly being at your side. I guess it's get into murky territory if you're dealing with people with like disabilities or health issues where they really do need that support, but
yeah,
your significant other also isn't like your health care worker either, right?
Yeah, maybe that's a better way of looking at it. Although you also hope that your significant other cares enough to want to support you, but at the same time, you hope that the other person cares enough to want them to let them live their lives. Yeah. And it to be balanced and fair and feel like everyone's doing as much as they can and not feeling like they have to do things.
Yeah, there could be a lot of nuance to this one, but based on what we know of it, yeah.
As far as the facts that we are aware of, Menchie declares... No.
Okay, moving on.
If it were Menchie, though, we're going to her surgery. Or her wedding.
Is Menchie getting married?
I don't know. Menchie?
It's news to me. Am I the asshole? I'm a 27-year-old guy for not paying for my 28-year-old girlfriend to come on my family's vacation, even though I could easily afford to.
More money, more problems.
My girlfriend of almost 3 years just bought a new condo that we recently moved into. She works a full-time job and for the past year also worked a part-time job to save for the down payment and other maintenance costs. She bought it about 2 months ago and then had to buy a washer dryer, fix the plumbing issues, etc. My family goes on a yearly trip to my home country of Japan. We have relatives there. My girlfriend could not afford to go because of all the recent expenses related to the condo. My older brother was very curious as to why she was not coming on the trip. When I told him that she could not afford it, he asked, "But can you pay for her to come? But you can pay for her to come, so why not do it?" He knows I have a lot of money saved up since I lived with our parents until I was 26, rent-free. He also advises me on investments and knows I've done well. I told him it's not my job to provide a vacation for her and that she is an adult. He was shocked and thought it was a disgrace that she worked 2 jobs to provide a place for us to live, yet I could not provide a vacation for her in return. He even offered to pay for her to come, although I think he just said that to piss me off. Am I the asshole? Wow, we just got like men.
Just a bunch
We
of
just
men.
got a bunch of men in a row here.
Before we even get into whether or not he's the asshole for this, in the beginning it says the girlfriend bought the condo herself and both of them moved into it. And she works full time in order to pay the maintenance costs that she's been paying for. So she's paying for their place of residence, as far as we're concerned, unless he's leaving out that he's splitting the cost with her. But
You're
just
right.
keep
That
in
is
mind.
missing. I feel like he probably would have described if he was contributing to these things.
It sounds like she bought it and he's just living there.
Yeah. Which, if that is the case, then yeah, this is like an insane.
Right. So you're not contributing to the home you live in every day.
Well, and that's the thing.
And-
It's not like he should pay her back with a vacation. He should be contributing
50-50.
to the
Yeah.
home. Well, like if he's not getting equity in a condo, I don't know if he should be paying half her mortgage payments.
50% of the interest and the
Yeah,
expenses.
we dealt with this actually.
did the exact
Did we
same
talk
thing.
about this when I moved in with you? It was a condo you owned, and we came up with a calculation that seemed fair for me to split the costs of things where it's like I wasn't contributing to the mortgage payments, but I was contributing to the living expenses and all that. Right?
Yeah. So
Basically.
we split the expenses and the interest on the mortgage 50-50 because the interest was not something that went back into my pocket.
It was something like
Yeah.
that. I don't think we worried about it being exact. It's
No, but
Yeah.
it helped us to come up with what a calculation we thought was fair given the circumstances, which was
Yeah.
that it was ultimately my condo that I owned, but you were living there. So
Yeah.
that was the fairest way to do it.
Yeah, and there are fair ways there's no one answer here, but there's a fair way of figuring something like that out, right? To be freeloading off your girlfriend and then go on your family's vacation without her while she's working like 1.5 jobs to pay the bills.
And she said she couldn't go because she couldn't afford it because she's paying your bills, sir.
Maybe she doesn't want to go on vacation because she
Maybe
doesn't
maybe
want to
she's saying that.
I don't
Like,
I don't get it.
Yeah, I kind of think, okay, you don't have to give anyone else your money, but you're still an asshole in this situation, right?
Why wouldn't you want your girlfriend to come on vacation?
Yeah, also,
it's not
what's
saying
wrong
it's
with
your
you?
job, but like, wouldn't you want to? Like, I don't know if it's hard to know what it's like when you're in a relationship where there's a huge financial imbalance. I guess sometimes you don't want to feel like one person is like.
Why isn't he contributing? If he has money and he's done well from investments, he's not contributing to the house.
Sure, that part's insane.
I'm just confused.
But I
Never
guess
mind. Fuck the vacation. We're talking about the house.
even if one person in the relationship has all the money though and the other person doesn't, it's not like it's the rich person's job to pay for that other person to experience things with them. But like, why wouldn't you want to share in that experience with them and use your money so you can both experience things?
I think there's a balance and there's also like some reasonable factor you should get, because you can't, the rich person shouldn't just give everything, without conditions forever to the person who's less well off. I do think you want to establish some baseline of contribution. And that doesn't mean it has to be 50-50 if that just logistically does not make sense. But you want to come to some kind of an agreement that's fair. And in this situation, it sounds like she's been working her ass off to pay for the place
Clearly,
they live. Yeah. He does well outside of that, isn't contributing to the home, can afford to go on the vacation himself, and isn't willing to help her go on with them. So I question his motives. Like, maybe he doesn't care that much about bringing her on the vacation either. Because that's also kind of...
It's also telling that his own family member is like, dude, like, you're the jerk here, right?
Right, yeah. So everyone agrees he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, there you go. All right, moving on. Am I the asshole for insisting that a nude drawing be removed when I have a personal connection?
Is this safe for work, Ben?
Maybe not.
Shout out to everyone listening at work.
Well, this just seems so silly and one of those unbelievable coincidences, but it happened, and I'm wondering if I'm the asshole. I'm a 48-year-old lady, probably named Karen, and I volunteer for a number of organizations, the local museum, botanical garden, etc. I have the time and I like to give back. So recently I was visiting with an acquaintance named Deb from one of these groups at her place.
Menchie. Menchie.
She and I were planning for an upcoming meeting. I had never been to her home before. In her beautiful home, she had a lot of art. She is a collector and an artist herself. In the salon where we were meeting was a large framed charcoal drawing, a slightly abstract male nude. It was very well done, although not exactly my kind of thing. I prefer clothed art.
Okay.
I was intrigued for reasons I will explain below and asked her some questions. It turns out that she was the artist herself, and that was a sketch she had done in a life drawing class a couple years ago in a local college's adult education art class, and she liked it well enough to display. Immediately my heart sank. I knew the drawing was of my son. Dun, dun, dun. My beautiful boy Aaron had posed as a model for such a life drawing class when he was home after his freshman year. Why, I don't know. He freely told us he had done that even though he probably knew I wouldn't approve. Despite being a near perfect kid, Aaron had always a hint of a rebellious streak. Think Tarzan hair and the kinds of clothes some kids today wear.
What a rebel.
I had been quite upset with him at the time, apparently parading around in his birthday suit for middle-aged men and women. I begged him not to do it. What would people think? That it was not right and that we didn't do those kinds of things. He was paid, but certainly didn't do it for the money. He said it was just for fun. His father didn't seem to care. Like, Dad doesn't give a shit.
Does not care.
I always liked that Aaron is a free spirit, but this was just too much. I discreetly explained the situation to Deb, knowing that she would understand and remove the art, especially when our members visit. She refused, though, and it led to a big argument and me using some frankly unladylike language. She thinks I'm the asshole for not asking and making a big deal out of nothing, and I think she's one for displaying a nude drawing of my son. I'm going to the effort to arrange a meeting at another location, but in the meantime, am I the asshole? And then just a little bit of additional context she provided in an edit. The drawing is fairly abstract, but I instantly knew it was my son. He was pretty distinctive longish hair and the same build look. And no, you can't really see his bits with much detail, but still.
Okay, Karen.
Look, I want to be at least acknowledge it would be pretty awkward to walk into someone's home and you see a naked picture of your son on the wall when you weren't expecting that.
It's not a naked picture. It's a
naked drawing
that was abstract, that isn't clear, that she knows was her son because she knows her son posed for this, but it's not clear that other people would immediately know it's her son.
But that's the thing though. Just don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Just don't tell Deb. Deb doesn't have to know. No one there has to know.
Debbie doesn't have to take it down. First of all, Debbie, from what I understand, did not know it was your son, right?
No, but now Debbie has the satisfaction of knowing that.
And
she
Debbie's
can bring it up
your
at
son up
the
on
next
her wall.
botanical garden meeting, can share with all the other ladies
Now
lunch.
she's going to sell it for more. She's going to make a profit knowing it's your son. No, I think Aaron, the poster's son, was 22 when he made this decision. So I'm sorry, Mom, but, he was an adult and was capable of making that decision himself.
Yeah.
And said that he did it. I mean, he got paid, but he also said he did it for fun. And that's just him. And it was an art class. It's an art class.
That's your son.
Like, yeah. I mean, I don't see a problem with this at all. In trying to understand how the mother feels, like if I was a 48-year-old cranky lady and I was prude and I, don't like anything. I only like clothed art, like if you're trying to put yourself in that mindset, I can kind of see a bit of embarrassment. Like if you knew that was actually a picture of your child, you might feel a little embarrassed and maybe you'd have a conversation with Deb. However, I think it's extremely unreasonable of her to expect Deb or anyone to immediately like bow down to her and do what she says and like and burn the poster or whatever. Because first of all, you can't even clearly tell it's him. It's art. He did it on his own volition. He was an adult. There's really nothing technically wrong. However, I understand how she might feel a little embarrassed.
Also, like nude portraits, there's a lot of nudity in very classic, tasteful art, right?
I wish we got a picture attached to this.
You do? Do you? Would you like it?
I would like it.
You know, the only thing that would would flip it for me is if the art was like insane depictions of like sex acts with her son like inserted into them or something crazy.
If
right?
it was clearly her son in a way that anyone could identify him, because then it kind of does link it to her. Well, no, but even so then it's
that was his
decision.
choice.
No, you're right. But but in this case, it's like it's only her in the room who knows. No one else knows.
Yeah.
So shush. Just shush, Karen. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're an asshole, Karen. Go back to your garden.
All right, moving on. Am I the asshole for enforcing my kids' friends to follow the same phone rules as our kids? My kids are 17, 14, and 8. The 8-year-old doesn't have a phone, but my 2 teens do. The rules are that they are not allowed to have their phone in their bedroom alone or bathroom during any time of the day. And at night, they bring us, me, their dad, their phones, and we lock them up.
Wait, the kids are 17, 14, and 8. Okay,
Yes.
just keep that in mind.
So the 14 and 17-year-old have cell phones, but aren't allowed to have them when they're alone or at night.
Okay.
These rules are mostly because I know how vile the internet can be. I've had my younger siblings who grew up during the rise of the internet tell me horror stories. As well, I very clearly remember the things I saw on Omegle as an adult. Well, what are you doing? What are you looking up, Dad? Yeah. I really don't want to risk any of these issues with my kids, as well as it helps them not procrastinate homework or chores, and we spend a lot more family time together.
That sucks.
This past...
Your kids hate that. Like, they actually hate that. Just telling you.
This past week, my oldest had a new friend come over. The girls were going to my daughter's room, and so I asked for their phones. My daughter looked embarrassed, but handed her phone over. Her friend then asked me what I meant. I told her of my rule, and she told me that she wanted to keep her phone. I then told them that they could stay out in the living room. The girl got a little bit irritated, but they ended up staying out in the living room. The hangout then turned into a sleepover, and I called the kid's dad and talked to him a bit about our rules. The dad was a little bit skeptical of our rules, but agreed. He told me he would relay this info to the mom as she was working. Nighttime came and everyone gave me their phones except for my daughter's friend. She said that she felt more comfortable keeping her phone in case of an emergency. I told her if there was an emergency, she can come wake me and my husband up. She then told me she really didn't feel comfortable with that in case she wanted to text her mom to sleep. I told her if that was the case that she needed to just go home because in our house the rule is no phones in the bedroom, period. She called her mom in another room and I could hear her crying, and while I felt bad, I stood my ground. The mom apparently had just gotten off work and not talked to the dad yet and thought our phone rule was creepy and invasive and told me that when she got to my house. She said that I should have just let her daughter keep her phone and told her that her daughter needed to follow my rules. My oldest is now embarrassed and really upset with me, and even my husband thinks I should have relaxed a little. I don't think I did anything wrong, but am I the asshole for not letting the girl keep her phone? Edit, just to clarify, the girl knew before the sleepover that they turned in their phones before they went to bed and also knew her phone was included. She was not blindsided.
Okay.
This is a good way of getting your kids to not have friends who ever want to come over. This is a good way to
make your kids hate you.
Kind of, right?
A lesson in how to make your teenagers hate you.
And we're not parents.
Yeah.
So we don't ever have to deal with this kind of bullshit. I could see there being some reasonable lengths you could take to prevent your kids from spending like 12 hours a day on your phone and getting addicted to social media. And like I had friends growing up in high school where like they had parents who would limit their quote unquote screen time. and we didn't have phones back then, so
It
it
was
was easier to
limit
police.
because
Like,
you just be like, time to get off the computer.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
can't be on the computer playing video games for like 8 hours after school.
Yeah, or
'cause-
you got to go to bed at 10 because you have school the next day.
something like that. But you're right. Like the outcome here is almost certainly going to be that your teenage kids just resent you for setting these rules, and as soon as they leave the house and are not under your roof and under their rules, they're going to be exposed to the internet anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem here. And I think it's the 17-year-old kid who the mother was saying to her child and her child's friend, who is presumably also around 17, that she can't have her phone. So imagine in today's day and age, a mother telling her daughter's friend, you can't have your phone, give it to me, give me your personal property with like all of your messages, all of your information on it. I'll hold on to that. Now go play in the living room where I can see you. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's actually ridiculous. And I would put up a fight if I was
Yeah,
the
we
friend.
didn't even acknowledge the friend thing. We were just thinking of their actual kids having to live with this.
Yeah.
But for the friend, yeah, if I'm
Like, absolutely not. Respectfully, ma'am, but absolutely not.
yeah, there's a respect in observing the rules of someone's house you are a guest in, but it's like I'm a teenage girl in a stranger's house or a friend's house, but like
Yeah.
I'm keeping my phone. That is my lifeline. Like so much is on your phone.
Well, but I think that's a good question though, because which rules override which? Because the friend, the 17-year-old, has her own set of rules that her parents have given to her because she's still under the age of 18 and lives under their roof and follows their rules for social media or having a cell phone or whatever. But does she have to follow the rules of whatever household she enters, or no? She follows her own household's rules for like her own use of social media
Well,
and
no,
having a
if
phone.
you're visiting a friend and you're under the supervision of someone else, presumably you follow that person's rules to some
But
degree.
not if it means that you have to confiscate your private property. Like, I feel like there's a line here.
I think most parents just understand there's some reasonableness and limits to that and wouldn't impose their excessive or unusual
else.
parenting practices. But like I remember growing up, I had a friend who wasn't allowed to watch TV at all. If I went over to their house, I
no TV.
wasn't going to watch
And-
TV.
And what did that make you do? Want to go to their house less?
No, we would never hang out at that kid's house. We would always go to other people's houses, clearly, right?
But did the parents of that kid, were they okay with that kid going to other people's house and watching TV?
This was like 25 years ago. I'm
But
trying to remember.
you would think
I
they wouldn't
remember
be.
seeing that kid outside of his house, so he wasn't chained up in a room, right?
Right, but maybe they didn't like the idea of him going to other kids' houses because he could watch that nasty television.
This idea that like I know what's on the internet. You think your kids?
No, you don't.
First of all, you don't.
First of all, you don't. This is what you just put this on the internet and embarrassed yourself. You played yourself.
You can teach your kids how to be responsible about consuming and shit. But again, like a lot of this is just going to be people just kind of have to learn this for themselves to some degree. You should be responsible as a parent and try to teach your kids to be responsible with their internet use, but also like they are going to find this stuff.
Yeah,
Unless
you can't
if
stop
they
it.
leave the house, if they're going to school, they're hanging out with friends who have phones, they're seeing what's on the internet. And like, you know what? Like, I think it's safe. If I had a kid, like the Omegle thing to me kind of implies that like maybe they'll see like pornography or something, right? Mm-hmm. In the 90s, little boys would like, you know what? Something like a story you hear from a lot of guys who grew up in the 90s, one of the kids' creepy older brother would have like an issue of Playboy, and a bunch of kids would like get together in the woods with no parents around to look at pictures of naked ladies.
They're gonna find the naked ladies.
I would much rather my kid could just safely, in the privacy of his room, see pictures of naked ladies on his cell phone.
Yeah,
I think.
I think this parent is doing a disservice to their children and their children's friends by proxy, but mostly to their children, because they're just going to alienate their own kids from their friends or from the experience of understanding the internet. And I'm just someone who much more believes in like harm reduction strategies in general. Like, introduce your kids to the internet, educate them, let them explore. If they find something that's alarming, like, have them trust you enough so they can talk to you about it. And learn about the internet yourself, Mom, because it sounds like you don't know much other than Omegle.
That's
like,
her homepage, Omegle.
Yeah, I just think this method just doesn't work. I knew someone in my life who treated their 15 or 16-year-old child this exact same way, and they would take their phone from them at like 8 p.m. every day. And if, like, this is just a few years ago, and if I'm a 15, 16-year-old in today's age and my parent is taking my phone away, and meanwhile all my friends have their phone, like, I'm embarrassed. I'm being shamed by my friends. Like, I'm being excluded from the activities that all of my friends are doing on the internet. And not all of it is bad. People are planning soccer practice. They're planning about the prom dresses. They're sharing pictures. They're talking about homework. I'm not saying
I got to push back on you a little here.
Uh-oh, we got a dad in the room.
Well, no, because you specifically said the overnight thing, right? My issue with these people is they never trust their kids and teach them how to be responsible themselves by ever having any privacy. So to me, the issue is that these kids aren't even using the internet without their parents being in the same room as them.
And they're
That's what I
17
think is
years
insane.
old.
The idea of, being like, hey, it's time for bed. I'm taking your phone so you're not scrolling through Instagram feeling terrible about yourself for the next 6 hours instead of sleeping. I'm actually a little more okay with the idea of not letting your kid go into bed when they should be sleeping at night without a phone. I can at least see the logic there.
I know it's really hard to draw a line. I feel like that's totally reasonable if your child is like 10 and you're like, no, it's bedtime after 8 p.m. No more electronics. We got to get ready or else you're just going to stay up all night and like you have school. But when your kid's like, and again, I don't really know the appropriate line. I'm not a parent, but just if I'm trying to picture myself at that age, I feel like by the time I'm 15, 16, I need a little bit more freedom or else I start to resent my parents. And if my parents are taking these things away from me that friends use as like permanent communication tools all the time now, I would start getting really pissed off and resentful and go out of my way to try and find ways to communicate or to piss my parents off. And I did that. When we had landlines, I remember like my parents used to pick up the phone and like listen in on my conversations when I was like having a conversation with a best friend or maybe a boy that I was interested in. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was a teenager, but I found it incredibly like disrespectful that they would do that to try and like confiscate my privacy, and I didn't have any other way. So what do? You go to your friend's house who you know their parents aren't home because they're still at work, and you call the people you want to call. So you're going to find a way. So, and then that just makes you as the 15-year-old or whatever in the situation, like resent your own parents.
To teach your kids how to be responsible, you need to give them the opportunity to be responsible for themselves.
Yeah, we're advocating for everyone out there who wants the freedom to use their own damn phone. However, there's one more thing we're missing, is that often parents, just to balance this out, will give the argument of, well, I'm paying for your phone, so it's my right to confiscate your phone whenever I want. That's the argument I hear a lot of.
Does anyone seriously argue? Like,
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that this is what parents say in defense of themselves.
Yeah, but that's like parents you see that like won't let a kid have like a door on their bedroom because they're not allowed to have privacy in their own home. Like that is frankly just insane. Right. And yeah, that's a great counter argument. You own the house. Technically, you can do that.
Technically, you can lock your kids in the house.
But that is just bad parenting.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who has no idea what it is to be a parent.
Yeah. So just because you pay your kid's cell phone bill, doesn't mean that you're allowed to completely police it. That is not the reason to completely police it.
I mean, you can, but that doesn't mean you should.
You should. Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
All right. Last one here. Am I the asshole for no longer making my husband sandwiches to take to work after discovering he was selling them?
But what was the profit margin?
I'm a 33-year-old lady and my 37-year-old husband works at an advertising company. We're struggling a bit financially because we're saving up to purchase a new apartment. He is used to eating fast food and it was costly. He had no problem spending money daily on fast food, and after doing the math, he spends more than $300 a month just on fast food, $20 a day. We live in an expensive area. I talked to him about it. He agreed that I make him sandwiches for him to take with him to work. That way he eats healthy, and we save some money for rent. And everything was going well. I noticed he wouldn't respond when I asked whether he liked the sandwiches I make, but he kept asking me to make more than 2 since he was hungry. Yesterday, he came home with his friend, a coworker. We sat at the dinner table, and his friend brought up the sandwiches I make for my husband and how delicious they are. I thanked him. Then he said the price was a bit much. I was confused and I asked him to explain. And he said, my husband sells the sandwiches I make to his coworkers, then goes to buy his own lunch from the restaurant. I was stunned. My husband denied it. I began arguing with him after his friend left. How do you deny it?
Yeah, how do you deny it? Like, what?
He said there was nothing wrong with it. I told him I will no longer be making him sandwiches if he's selling them to buy fast food. He defended himself, calling this an overreaction since he's not spending money on fast food, and said I was being unfair to start an argument over this. How is he not spending money on? He's still eating. He's going to the restaurant.
Yeah, he is spending money on fast food.
Is he making more money selling the sandwiches than he's spending in fast food? Okay, and
So
he's pocketing the money for her labor?
Exactly.
He's
It's
exploiting.
exploitation.
Yeah. I just walked into the bedroom and stayed there. Then he said, I owe him an apology. He
what?
doesn't think it was acceptable for me to lash out and say, I won't make him sandwiches anymore.
Oh, she's going to cut off the supply. Then what's he going to do?
That is unacceptable. Why would he be? Well, I guess as he's the middleman, he's the dealer. I guess he should be getting a cut. Most of the sandwich money should be going to her.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, he could get a bit of a cut for doing the runner work, for selling it, but it should flow up to her.
Well, I guess who's buying the raw ingredients too,
Her.
right?
Well,
I don't know that.
Good question.
Maybe he's bringing
We're
in
going
the
to need
bread.
more information.
She is making the sandwich though, right?
Yeah. What if she's making the sandwich with his money?
With
Like
his
that he makes
bread.
that work where he's selling the sandwiches. We've got a whole cycle in here.
We need a diagram for this one.
Map it out.
Why wouldn't he just loop her into this? Hey, we're trying to save money. We have
Because
this
he's
illegal sandwich operation.
Obviously, he didn't tell her because he's embarrassed that she would be offended that he's selling her work.
Okay, well then he shouldn't do it. Like you would only do this if
but
you both
he
parties
saw an opportunity and he took it.
They should go into business. Maybe her sandwiches are excellent if people are willing to
They are.
buy them,
It
right?
Sounds like it. But it also shows, and this is what I think he's embarrassed about, that he wasn't eating them. So it's like an insult to her that, I'm happy to profit off your sandwiches and sell them to my coworkers, but I'm going to buy fast food.
I would rather my Burger King. I'd
Yeah.
rather my Big Mac.
I mean, I think this couple should probably just talk to each other, as is usually the solution for all of these Am I the Assholes?
Communication is key.
But just to humor this, is this person an asshole?
Yeah.
Which person?
The husband.
The husband.
Yeah, for not
husband-
cutting her in.
Yeah, for not giving her a cut.
For lying to her.
For lying to
Yeah.
her, yeah. But if he wasn't lying and had told her about this, I think this is a pretty good business idea. What do you think, Ben?
If she's a really good sandwich.
Yeah.
Actually, the truth is, I guess it's not legal to just make sandwiches in your home kitchen and sell them commercially.
Yeah.
Right? There are some
Right,
laws
yeah.
about food preparation.
Yeah.
But that hasn't stopped. There's a huge, I think you see them on Facebook marketplaces in big cities now. There are incredibly talented home chefs who just make food out of their apartment. And people are willing to buy it.
Yeah,
And there's a whole sort of
supporting local people.
underground restaurant economy sort of going on.
Even though they're not necessarily incorporated as businesses or paying
Or
business
getting,
taxes or getting health inspections.
Yeah, that's maybe the biggest issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's totally a thing. And I guess if you're just making a few sandwiches, your husband's taking to work. I don't think I would worry about the government finding
We're not
going
going
to
to call for an audit. But
But I want to know how good her sandwiches are. I like a good sandwich.
sorry, I suck at them. Remember when I used to make your
You
lunches
suck
for
at them.
work? And you didn't eat them. Oh my, is this us?
Well, I wasn't selling them to people.
Back when we went to the office, I would take leftovers mostly and kind of throw it together in a Tupperware for each of us. But then, and we work at the same place. So I know when you're not eating the lunch I made because you'd go to Subway and buy a wrap instead. And I'd be like, but Ben, I brought lunch for you. And you'd be like, nah, I don't want that. But at least you were honest.
Yeah, I wasn't lying to you, but I don't, addicted is a strong word. I ate a lot of fast food, and not greasy cheeseburger fast food, but like Subway more than anything. And I stopped eating it at one point, and for a while I felt like I was kind of craving it.
You were going through sub withdrawal.
And when I had it again, a long time after that, I realized the bread tastes basically like cake. It's like super sweet
Yeah,
and
there's
sugary.
sugar in it.
Like you'd think
Yeah.
a sandwich full of veggies and like a lean protein. That doesn't sound so
It's
bad.
not real protein.
But yeah, like the chicken's not even chicken. It's like soy.
Careful,
stuff.
allegedly. I don't know.
There have been articles about this where they've taken their meat samples to the lab and found out they're not exactly what they're described to be. Right? This isn't breaking news.
I will say I appreciate the husband's entrepreneurship, though. And I did something similar when I was in high school.
Did you?
Not the same, exactly the same, but I used to get allowance from my parents for cleaning the house or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I got $20 in a $20 bill a week.
$20 a week?
But it was supposed
That's
to be.
it's like horse girl allowance.
Wait, it was because my parents were too busy to make my lunch. So I was supposed to buy lunch at the school cafeteria, and I got $20 for the week. So not every day could I afford lunch. Sometimes I would just have to like make do with taking leftovers.
Oh,
But the
gotcha.
idea was like, here's $20 a week. You can buy your lunch because like we can't make it every day, or you don't want to eat our food or whatever.
Sure.
Here you go.
Okay.
I also did chores and clean up around the house.
Okay.
So I realized though that school ended at 2:30. And I could
Okay.
I could wait until then to have a late lunch if I could pocket and bank that $20 a week. So I started just taking like whatever I could, like granola bars or whatever, to school, just so I like had some food in my stomach throughout the day. But spending money at the cafeteria was so expensive, rather than just like taking granola bars that my parents bought, from Loblaws or the grocery store. So I would just pocket that $20 a week and put it in my bank account. So over time, I was making money from what my parents thought was giving me like money to buy food. Smart entrepreneur from a young age.
Smart, but weren't you like,
Hungry? Yeah.
Like, this isn't healthy. We shouldn't be
No,
encouraging this.
I had don't get me wrong. I had food. I like took leftovers. It just wasn't the best.
So you had a
Yeah.
choice between I can spend this money on expensive cafeteria
Yes.
food or eat,
Or I can figure it out. I can
find whatever's in the fridge.
Yeah, and there was always food in the fridge. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
It's not like I had nothing. I just want to make it clear. But all my friends, they were buying like the hamburgers and the fresh French fries from the cafeteria, and I was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna spend $2 on a Coke when I could bring a Coke from my house. From the day before. Like, why would I do that? So I definitely saw the value in that, and I saw how I could save money this way.
Yeah,
It's one of the earliest ways I learned how to save money.
You're smarter than me. I blew a lot of money in high school. I went to school in like downtown Ottawa. There's a high school like a block away from City Hall that I went to, right? So you're right by some like major streets, and every lunch we would go to Elgin Street and just go to like Harvey's or Second Cup, like
And
a
you
coffee
waste
shop.
so much money doing that. Meanwhile, I was saving $80 a month, Ben.
Yeah, but money's only as good as the joy it brings you in life. You
I
know?
found more joy out of being like a mini entrepreneur. So I was like, I'm making money off my parents. I'm so smart.
Good job.
Anyways,
All right, Christine. Apologies to Sam Cedar. We were going to have him on today. He was just going to pop up on the screen here, but we ran out of time.
who is he going to debate? You?
No, thanks.
He was going to debate Menchie.
What a fucking nightmare. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this Talking on Taco Tuesday about Reddit, Am I the Asshole business.
Comment down below if you've ever been an asshole.
Ever
Ever.
in your life.
All right, everybody.
Thanks so much for watching.
Happy Taco Tuesday. We'll see y'all later. Bye.